Alright, disclaimer. This is a personal YouTube channel. Any views or opinions represented in this YouTube channel are personal and solely belong to me as the owner and do not represent those people, organizations, or institutions that I or may not be associated with in professional or personal capacity unless explicitly stated. Any views or opinions are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or any individual. The last type of mitigation measures is alternatives. For example, alternatives may be considered for facility sitting or operational processes schedules and engineering design. So there are projects or there are adverse impacts that would lead to changing of the design of the facility. There are cases that you can do that, and of course, what would one of the mitigating measures is what the company could do is if they can schedule, for example, if it would cause a high intensity of noise because during the operational stage of a certain project, then therefore for the people to be compensated or for for at least not to disturb people, then maybe the company or the during operation they might not, or I should say maybe during the evening the operation should be shut down or should be closed, or there should be any kind of operation in the evening if, for example, if the certain activity or certain project would cause high intensity of noise. Or maybe other alternative is they have to design their building that it will be soundproof. Um, it will be soundproof for the noise of a certain operation will not, come outside the building. So those are, the other alternatives for mitigation measures. So this table one, this is actually an example of a pairwise comparison. So for example, we have compare alternative. So for example, we have A, B, C, and D. And then we have other alternatives. We have A, B, and C. We are actually doing a pairwise comparison. And then if we are going to sum that, we can see here that A and comparative alternative. So the point system is preferred alternative is equal to 1, less preferred alternative is equal to 0, non-preference is equal to 0.4 for both alternatives. So on this case, the result would be the comparative C because it resulted to 3. And as we know, preferred alternative is equal to 1. So therefore, the highest number for the preferred alternative is C. All right. Let's go now to the compensation plan. So what do you mean by, I know, let's go now to enhancement plan. So when we say enhancement plan, again, this is actually the further improvement of beneficial project impacts. An example of enhancement activities that can be included in environment management plans could include, for example, if we can enhance planting, if a certain forest or a certain vegetation is being affected, or we can also introduce new recreational facilities if that is part of the enhancement plan. So again, when we say enhancement plan, when we say enhancement plan, again, it means if we can improve or we can increase the beneficial impact to the people and to the environment itself then therefore, if we can find ways to enhance that, then that would be good and that would be way better. Next is compensation plan. So when we say compensation plan, a compensation plan is developed to make up for both biophysical and socio-economic residual impacts. So at the same time, compensation provides for replacement, restoration, and reinstitution of residual damages to the environment, in which the compensation impacts can actually take in a variety of forms. For example, it could be restoration of damaged resources in an area not associated with the project site. That could be one of the compensation plan, or maybe establishing new habitats or settlements. For example, if in a certain project or a certain activity there were settlers that will be affected, then therefore the developer, the government, or the developer itself should give these settlers an area or an area for what's the proper term for that? Um, so for example, there are settlers. For example, you are constructing a road, and on that road there are people, or there is a certain barangay or sitio that will be affected with your project. So therefore, if you have to really push through for that road and you cannot reroute your road, then therefore the developer should provide resettle. Yeah, that's the correct term. You should provide a resettlement area for those people that were affected with your construction site or with your road construction. And then another compensation is, offering money to the affected people or communities. Yeah, you can offer them money as a part of compensation, but it should be documented for it to be legal, of course. So what do we mean by contingency plan? Um, Actually, okay. So earlier that was just an intro, and then these are the explanation of this different plans. All right. So contingency plan measures to prevent, as I said earlier, prevent accidents that would result in predicted impacts. And as I explained it to you also earlier, contingency plans are also those kind of incidents that are not expected but are possible to happen. So the methods of response and cleanup in the event of an accident. For example, um, so we are, excuse me. So um, you are familiar with high seas, right? The high seas are the areas of our ocean that has no territory. Like anybody can go fishing and anybody can bring their submarines and warships to pass through that. So those are considered as high seas that are beyond the exclusive economic zone of a certain country. These are also the passage, or these are also the ways that cargo ships and barge ships or cargo ships that has oil and that has cargoes with them. Um, these are the areas that they use as a route area, Um, as we all know, there are cases that there are oil spills. And as what we also know, oil spills are very dangerous and is very bad for the marine fisheries or for our ocean resources. So the boat or how do you call it, the ship itself, the people that are working there always have a contingency plan as to what to do if there is an oil spill. At the same time, there are also organizations or countries that are, for example, the Philippines, since we have an archipelagic country, since we are surrounded by oceans, The Philippines itself also has a contingency plan if oil spills happen. So again, when we say contingency plan, this is a measure that we have to do if a certain accidents happen. So again, the best way to do it is to have a method of response and clean up in an event of an accident. Um, Also, we have organization and training for personnel to prevent or to implement preventive measures and response in the event of an accident. Um, so, in preparation of a contingency plan, of course, excuse me, contingency plans must be prepared according to the types of accidents likely to occur. So, for example, is fuel spill or dam burst. If you have a certain dam that has a high volume of water and it bursted because of earthquake or because of high volume of water, then the certain developer or the owner itself or the government itself that is managing, or I would say is the certain bureau of government or government agency that is managing the certain dam should always have a contingency plan. Of course, with earthquakes, that's part of the contingency plan, what to do if there is fire, or maybe if there is a chlorine spill or leak, if the certain project or certain activity would involve chlorine or other toxic waste. So that's part of the contingency plan. So, for the reporting and accountability, of course, this defines the line of responsibility in environmental management and establishes the roles of organizations and individuals in reporting. So this institutional arrangement address human resources, organizations, policy, and regulatory issue. Um, because at the same time, it is also stated in the reporting and accountability as to who is accountable if something happens, or if there is a certain adverse impacts, who should be accountable for that. At the same time, it is always, whatever is your project or whatever is your activity, you are always in connect you are always connected to government agencies. For example, if you have a business and you have profits for it, of course you are, you know, accounted, or you are connected with the TI because business permits and other documents also with BIR. If your certain project involves, for example, well, with the ECC itself, of course, you work with, or you are connected. Um, you have to abide the rules and regulations, or other other statements that is indicated in your ECC. Then therefore, you have to work with the DNR AMB. So again, with the reporting and accountability, these are institutional arrangements that address human resources and organization policy and other regulatory issues. So, yeah. All right. The next part of our discussion is participation, presentation, and review of your EIA study. But before we proceed, let's have a break for 10 minutes.